Bill Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional counselor from California. And this video is going to be directed toward investment capital, which I'm looking for. And you're going to learn I have very, very great collateral to take care of business here, given what I've done and the window of opportunity that we now have with Trump sounding exactly like me with a recent executive order and with Bondi seemingly on board, and the Supreme Court justices right now know what the real problem is here. So when we get to that court, and I'll be going there in the original jurisdiction, you'll learn all about that. Send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and I'm going to have multiple claims against multiple perps for acts of treason to the Constitution. And that's the U.S. Supreme Court saying that, not me. A case called Cohen v. Virginia that you're going to learn a lot more about. Because you get in there, and if you haven't figured it out yet, every time you show up in one of their courts, aka administrative tribunal, and that's an executive agency, by the way, can you say separation of powers? You start asking these kinds of questions and get away from that due process and equal protection of what I can prove is the non-existent 14th Amendment and invoke creator endowed inalienable rights secured by all 6 articles of the Constitution. That's where the claims to treason come into play. And if we do go after, well, the primo perp is going to be who we're going after. Sometimes that'll be actually a quote unquote official actor, but they're not. You're going to learn, no question about it, that they're not there. They are not lawfully there. They haven't been appointed or elected to a position where they have any authority, and that's what's exciting. And the threat there is if they committed acts of treason, not only are they going to be liable for far more than what their personal bond might be, but they may end up getting an all expenses paid vacation to Alligator Alcatraz. And this is why the payouts are going to be huge because, what are you going to do? If those are the 2 options, you get your textbooks out and make the case go away. And right now, we can do that. I'm not thrilled, but I know with this Supreme Court, with the new term just having started, they know what's going on. And they have for the last 4 or 5 years, actually. And you'll learn more about how I know that. And yes, by the way, I should say in passing, I have an a cappella expert witness command of 230 years of the Constitution, history, and laws of the United States. So that said, send me an email, uwinningcourt@gmail.com, and I'll be very, very liberal and outgoing with any amounts of money that come in, and they're going to be huge. And you'll make a lot of money, and if you know what you're doing, none of it's going to be taxable income either. We'll be talking more about that later. Send me an email, uwinningcourt@gmail.com, and I have got them dead bang when you see my paperwork and the issues I raise, and they're all unopposed. And yet, when we go in there, the plaintiffs have the burden of proof on jurisdiction and venue, even if we don't challenge it. But it never gets on the record because it convicts them all of treason. But when you do what I'm doing, and set an unopposed record like this is when, the settlement amount, goes up and up and up, and often should be well within 8 figures to the left of the decimal point, and they'll be damn lucky to get out for that because they could be spending life in prison for acts of treason. And, right now we'll take the payouts. There's no question about that. But soon enough, if the Supreme Court finally does its job, and it looks like they're getting very close to doing that, and telling all the lower court judges, when we show up there, that's an Article 3 judicial court. Wake up and smell the roses here. Dismiss the case, be done with it. Because if you don't do that now, and you knew or should have known, these are all law school graduates, right? And they don't know this, and Joe Sixpack off the street knows all this, and they don't. What does that tell you? So yeah, I've got a hell of an expert witness command of my subject matter, divinely granted. I'm thankful for that every day. And this is what makes for a great investment portfolio here, because we're going to do very, very well. And the best part is that we start winning these cases. We're going to change the way the justice system does business, and that's going to benefit you, your family, and your posterity. That's absolutely priceless. So we're going to have a lot to talk about here. Send me an email, humanincourt@gmail.com, and see if we can put together a package that makes things work here. And I'm sure we can do that. And by the way, I'm all in, and I have been for a long time, with what I do. But now with this window that we have, wow, it's just unlike anything I've ever seen. And you're going to get, with my initial response to the executive order from Trump that sounds exactly like me in the original intent of those racist framers of the Constitution. And if we get back to that government, that's what we want to do. If that's the original government, and it was ordained and established, you know, to be exactly what it was. The central purpose of a Republican form of government was sovereign, independent states. And we're also going to learn right now we don't have any of those sovereign, independent states. And we haven't had any since very arguably, are you ready for this? 5:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 28th, 1868. These are major bargaining points and leverage, and this is why we're going to get paid off here to make us go away. And I can live with that for right now. Sooner or later, the truth is going to have to come out, especially about what you'll learn is the non-existent 14th War Amendment 8. And it's going to be cataclysmic when it happens. But we're ahead of the curve here, so we're going to be in good shape. And everybody's going to benefit when the Supreme Court makes rulings, and they have to do it when we show up in that court's original jurisdiction. You're going to learn all about that too, not the appellate side. Original jurisdiction. We have a right to be there. And they make the rulings they have a sworn duty to do, to be bound by this Constitution and laws enacted in pursuance thereof. That's the beginning of the end for the elected despotism, the New York banksters, and you name it. They all go away, and that's exactly what they should do. And maybe some of them, who knows, will get an all expenses paid vacation to Alligator Alcatraz. Is exactly what should happen. That's more bargaining leverage for us. So send me an email, humanincourt@gmail.com, and we'll see what we can work out. You're going to love every bit of it. And with any luck at all, the investment quality is going to come in here within the next 90 days or so. And it may take a little longer than that, but it's not going to take that long because we have leverage up the wazoo here with the work I do, the documents I have, the portfolio, and we can all do very well. And it's great for all of us. So send me an email, uwinnincourt@gmail.com, and we can catch up, talk, and go over things and see if we can do some real business together here. Thank you.